I'm going with the less on McCorkle Jones.
Yeah, McCorkle. Where's that?
That's his name.
Like on the birth certificate.
Michael McCorkle Jones. Yes.
Nice.
That's one you don't know. Let me tell you a great one. Chris Godwin's real name is Rod Godwin.
No.
Yes.
Welcome to Monkey Knife Fight's Thursday Night Football Show. Folks, I'm Connor Rowntree. That's Joe Dolan. And we're excited to be here today. I mean, we got a fun matchup tonight. At least a matchup that will have definitely more than one storyline going in. I don't know if you can call it a revenge game how many years later. But you get Matt Ryan versus Bill Belichick. Belichick's 4-0 against Ryan, so I don't even know if revenge
I don't remember any games that they played against each other, Connor.
Oh, here we go with the sarcasm again. Not falling into that trap, Joe.
What's going on, man?
How are you, buddy?
Oh boy, I'm just like exhausted. Like it does. I feel like I can't get enough sleep right now. It's like one of those like I got to bed. I was a good boy. I went and laid down in bed at like 11:50 last night, and I watched YouTube on my iPad for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then I fell asleep and I rolled out of bed about 25 minutes ago, and I'm still exhausted. So
was it NFL stats on YouTube? Were you getting yourself ready for the weekend, or was it just like puppy videos in the toilet? Just
no, actually it was Formula One videos. So
nice. I'm a big F1 guy. Love that Lewis come back on the weekend.
Lewis was it. Who's your driver?
I am actually I was a Nico Rosberg guy. And now it's slowly transferred into Lewis just over time. Okay. And I don't know. I guess I'm a bit of a Lewis fan, but Lando Norris and the McLarens have always had my heart. But
okay, so I'll tell you, I am a fake F1 fan. I'm a Drive to Survive guy.
Nice.
That brought me into F1. I'm not afraid to admit that. And F1 introduced me to Daniel Ricciardo, who's a goofball, and I'm a goofball. And I cashed a 12-1 ticket on Daniel Ricciardo to win at Monza this year. Spar and Monza. That's how they say it on the broadcasting. So so I cashed the ticket on him to win the Italian Grand Prix. So I'm a Daniel Ricciardo McLaren guy, and my wife likes Lando, and she thinks everybody's handsome. I got to be honest with you though. I had no idea how to spell Charles. I thought his name was Sean Leclerc.
No, it's like Charles, but Charles.
Yeah.
Charles.
And like, why are all these guys model handsome, by the way?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. But
do you have to be like super handsome to drive a car? Is that why I get pulled over all the time?
No, exactly. It's you have to be super handsome, and you literally have to be like the top 1% of the top 1% to even get into that sport, basically, with how the expenses. Like Lance Stroll's dad had to buy him a team to get in.
Yeah, so. I know, and so did Mazepin's dad, I think.
So yeah, it's really one of those like polo. If you're not kind of born into it, you got to be really good, like Lewis Hamilton. Know what?
That's why I think it's Pierre Gasly, who didn't come from like a ton of money, and they like gave up everything for. I think it was Gasly. It's either him or Ocon.
And Hamilton's family as well. It's just he's come so far, right? But anyway,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was actually at the Italian Grand Prix a few years ago. That was my last segue to that. And then, hey, I'm gonna be in. Speaking of American Thanksgiving coming up, we weren't talking about it, actually. We're talking about American Thanksgiving pizza before coming on air, which looked delicious, by the way. But I'm going to be in America for Thanksgiving this year. I'm super, super excited. Going to be in Los Angeles, and I get to see the Bears play at like 9 a.m. Mm-hmm. So that's something I've never experienced. So, yeah, that'll be fun.
Hey, I mean, I know the Bears stink this year, but I'm just going to tell you, they can turn it around quick. 2015, the Eagles. Let's look at the Eagles 2015. Now, there is some differences here, but we'll get to. Chip Kelly gets fired. The Eagles are at ground zero. I mean, but they bring in Doug Peterson. They draft Carson Wentz. And then they go 7-9. All right, a little promising, but a lot of work to do. And then they win the Super Bowl next year. It can happen quick in the National Football League. So just telling you there, and the fact that you got Fields, I know it's been more down than up this year, but he's trending upwards. You know, I think it's okay to be a little optimistic about the Bears for the future. I don't know who's going to talk to them. I mean, I don't know who's going to coach them next year. Talk to them. I don't know who's going to coach them next year, but we'll see.
Oh man, it should be good. But speaking of rookie quarterbacks, it all starts and ends with Mac Jones. I mean, he is cooking up some gourmet mac and cheese, some gourmet Kraft mac and cheese, may I add. Mr. Kraft owns it. See what I did there? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're back, Joe. We are so back. Anyway, yeah, Patriots versus Atlanta. You can talk about the storyline. Otherwise, 28-3. We all know what happened. But here's something new for you. Playing Monkey Knife Fight at home. Matt Ryan's line from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. today will be 1.5 passing yards. Joe Dolan, I know he had a tough week last week, but does Matt Ryan eclipse 1.5 passing yards?
Yeah, going to be tough, but I think so.
All right, nice.
I don't know if Cordero Patterson's going to play. That might hurt it, but I think he might be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take the more on the 1.5 here. Now, let's get into Mac Jones. We can see his line on MKF. I mean, goodness gracious, 245.5. He's really flourishing as the quarterback of this rookie class. He's got the weapons around him too. And one thing that I want to note is his safety net and Hunter Henry. 7 out of his 13 touchdown passes have gone to the big tight end. So Mac Jones is feeling confident passing out of the backfield to his whoever's playing running back. I think it's going to be Stevenson tonight if Bolden can't go. So many names being mixed out of the lineup. Jacoby Myers gets his first touchdown last week. Finally, things in New England are really starting to seem like they were, dare I say, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, look, Mac Jones, highest graded Pro Football Focus quarterback since week 5. But I mean, obviously that hasn't translated to a whole lot of fantasy success. He's just the quarterback 23 over that stretch. And now he's only thrown 13 touchdown passes this year. But the Falcons have given up the 4th most fantasy points per game. They're dead last in Pro Football Focus pass rush. They're 5th worst in Pro Football Focus coverage grades. The question for Mac Jones is, what is his ceiling? And, you know, I think this is entirely how Bill Belichick wants to play. Mac Jones has gone up and over this number here once in his last 6 games. Mm-hmm. He actually did it in 3 of his first 4 before he started the stretch where he was playing Pro Football Focus has him graded the highest. Just based on the history, I've got to say less for Mac Jones, and he can play well while going less than this number. I just think this is going to be a good game for the New England defense. New England's given up 13 points the last 2 weeks. Atlanta has some major question marks on offense, which I'm sure we'll get to, even though I still think Matt Ryan's going to throw for more than 1.5 yards. They've got some major question marks. I think this is a game that the Patriots can control. I'm going with the less on McCorkle Jones. Yeah,
McCorkle. Where's that one?
That's his name.
Like on the birth certificate.
Michael McCorkle Jones. Yes.
Nice.
That's one you don't know. Let me tell you a great one. Chris Godwin's real name is Rod Godwin.
No.
Yes.
He's the Rod.
You want to know what his backup job is to football?
That just wrote itself. The Rod God.
Rod Godwin. Yes. Michael McCorkle Jones.
Wow.
Oh. By the way, AJ Dillon, he's not like Anthony Joseph Dillon. He's Algiers Jamil Dillon.
Jesus. How do you you're awesome.
I mean, they've got some great names. The obvious one is AJ Green, Adriel Jeremiah Green, because that's what the Bengals announcers would always call him when he scored. But yeah, Mac Jones. My nephew's name is Mac, and it's just Mac. I asked I called him McCorkle when I called my sister a couple weeks ago, and she wanted to slap me. So
that's McCorkle. That's like a name. I think I would hear it like Bikini Bottom back when I was 8 years old watching SpongeBob. Who am I kidding? I still watch SpongeBob.
Michael McCorkle Jones, man. Less than 245.5 passing yards.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually side with you on that one. I like the less too. I mean, last week, look what he did, right? 19 of 23 for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And I guarantee you that's exactly how Belichick wants to play.
Exactly. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you have Bolden or Stevenson back there. I think it's going to be Stevenson based on what I'm seeing from Bolden. I have him on my fantasy.
Damien Harris is going to play.
Well, if Harris is playing, then you have an automatic target out of the backfield. Yeah. So
yeah, I think Bolden I don't know about Bolden, but I think Stevenson has earned touches in this backfield. So I would think Stevenson, who's been better than Harris in the passing game, might absorb the Bolden role. But it all comes down to pass pro as well, which they want their backs to do.
Yeah. Well, also, I believe we were looking at last week, Atlanta, I think, is ranked dead last in sacks. Yeah, they are. They're ranked 32nd in sacks in the NFL and 31st in QB hits. So, well, if Mac Jones has time to sit back in the pocket, he's just going to butter up this defense and truly serve up some gourmet mac and cheese. I know I used that one already, but it's just too damn good. Yeah, I'm gonna like the less though. I just think obviously Stevenson's performance last week, taking on what I believe it to be a tougher Browns defense. 20 touches is a lot of touches. 100 yards is a lot of yards, and you like seeing the touchdowns. So I think it's going to be a run-heavy game in which the Pats control and Mac Jones does his job, like we've been seeing. Just be the Mac Daddy. That picture of him smoking the cigar is the
he looks like favorite. Me without a shirt on.
Oh man, it's something else. Athlete, finely tuned athlete. We have a couple T-shirts with that on it. The Mac Daddy, what a guy. Moving over to Matt Ryan now, Matty Ice. I mean, it's been up and down this season. Slow start, then he got super hot. QB rating over 90. He's looked pretty solid, but 250 and 251 and a half against a Patriots team, a Patriots defense that's allowing 12 and a half points over the last 4 games, pardon me.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Outside of Kyle Pitts, I don't think there's anyone that I'm starting that's wearing an Atlanta Falcon this jersey.
We'll get to Kyle Pitts because I'm concerned.
Please don't. I have
he's gone over 330 yards in 3 of his last 5 games. The problem was he was under 150 in the other 2. I have to say less here for Matt Ryan. I just think, and here's why I'm concerned about Kyle Pitts. The Cordero Patterson is questionable game time decision with an ankle sprain. Some think it's a high ankle. So my opinion is, even if he plays, does Cordero Patterson get limited? And there is one playmaker the Atlanta Falcons have that anybody's worried about right now. That's Kyle Pitts. Bill Belichick is going to give him the Kyle Pitts treatment. I mean, the Bill Belichick treatment. He's going to double him. He is going to make Matt Ryan beat him by throwing the ball to Russell Gage, who's catchless in 2 of his last 3 games. Tajay Sharp, Olamide Zaccheaus. Those are not guys Bill Belichick is losing sleep over. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah, I just at 4.5 receptions, man, he's such a huge. He's such a good playmaker, and he's that athletic. I think he can shake it, catch some short balls. I think Matt Ryan just needs. There's obviously no Calvin Ridley. If there's no Cordero Patterson, you said where else is the ball going to go? I mean, even if he's getting the Bill Belichick treatment, Matt Ryan, we saw it with Tony Gonzalez. We saw it with Austin Hooper. He likes his tight ends. Kyle Pitts is different. You can line him up outside. I think he probably actually from when I've watched Falcons games this year,
he's a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's literally lined up more outside the numbers than I don't even know if I've seen him down in a 3-point stance, ready to block.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver.
I think they're gonna. If Atlanta's gonna have any hope in hell tonight, they need to scheme Kyle Pitts to get the ball. They need to find some way, somewhere, picks, one-on-one rub matchups, something to get him one-on-one or something to break just a gap, even 2 yards of space for Matt Ryan to fit in the ball. Otherwise, it's going to be like last week. They're going to put up 3 points. It's just going to be a snooze fest.
Yeah.
No slander, just facts.
Do you know how many games Kyle Pitts has gone more than 4.5 receptions this year?
I believe, 3?
3.
Yeah.
And, I'm kind of with you where I'm like, the thing about Pitts is this year, he's averaging 15 yards a reception, which is absurd for a tight end. Again, he essentially plays wide receiver. I wonder if they'll be a little bit different and say like, all right, let's get him 6 catches for 60 and see if he can bust one, as opposed to just having him run downfield. But I feel like, I think my gut feeling is more on the receptions. I'd like to see a yardage total because my gut feeling is more on the receptions and less on the yardage, depending on what the yardage total is. But that's my gut feeling right now. I do think Belichick is going to do everything in his power to take Kyle Pitts out of this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the more on the receptions just because, as I said, you got to do something to get him open, and he is their offensive key. He is the key to any success through that Atlanta offense. Huge target out of Florida, can make plays, right? His line, Joe, so you know, is 65.5 receiving yards.
I'll take less than that.
Yeah, you like the less there?
I like the less than that on the yardage.
You didn't even think. Just bang.
No. Yeah.
Done. All right, well, let's move over to Damien Harris. Then you mentioned it, saying he's back in the lineup. I think this is Stevenson's game. I think he earned it last week going for the 100, well, not over 100, literally 100 yards against Cleveland. Couple touchdowns, hard running, hard-nosed running. Like, football fans like watching that. At least if you're like me, like, I like watching the black and blue. Let's run dead up the middle and let's break some faces and some face masks. I have to take the less on Damien Harris just because I think it's going to be a Stevenson game.
Yeah, I think logic is going to tell me less on this too. I'll be completely honest. I have no idea how Belichick is going to rotate these running backs. Harris has been good this year. Stevenson has looked good this year, but he's also spent time in the doghouse. So I don't know how he's going to handle this, but I feel like Stevenson's got to have a role. I don't know if they're going to keep Bolden in there. Bolden plays in this game. Obviously, he's questionable with the hip, but I am going to go less. We have less across the board right now. Although I do like the more on the pitch receptions, but let's go with less right here. I think this is shaping up to be a less game for me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, honestly, I'm with you. I like the more on the pitch receptions too. Just as we don't need to rehash that. But, Damien Harris, just as I said, the game script for me, obviously, I'm not Bill Belichick. I'll never be the guru. I'm 26 and I'm doing this. I'm not coaching a football team. But if trends tell me anything and the past, Bill Belichick likes those guys that are going to go in and fight for every yard. And that's what I saw with Stevenson last week. And he likes those guys that take advantage of opportunities like Tom Brady in the past, right? We don't really need to get into that. So I think it is going to be a Stevenson game. That makes me take less on Harris. And as for Jacoby Myers, oh, man, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to take less again.
I'm going to go with the more.
Nice. There we go.
This team, Jacoby Myers is not CeeDee Lamb, but the Falcons got slaughtered in the slot by CeeDee Lamb last week. Isaiah Oliver was their top slot corner. He's now out. They are vulnerable in the slot, and that's where Jacoby Myers lines up.
Yeah, and you know what? It's good to finally see him get it. I didn't realize that he had never scored a touchdown until
NFL record.
Yeah, absolutely insane. But like if I go back to the stats, he's gone over this number. Okay, he hasn't gone over this number since he got 56 yards in week 5. And then he's been held the less. The target share's gone down. Mac Jones, I believe, threw the ball to 8 different receivers last week. I think it's going to be a run-heavy game and spreading the ball out. I don't trust Jacoby Myers, I guess. But
Understood.
Hey, but you do. This is what you get paid the big bucks for, baby. And if you're saying he's lining up in the slot, I'll try. I'll go.
That's where he lines up. That's where
I'll go toe to toe. I'll go toe to toe with Joe Dolan on this one. I'll ride with the less, and we'll reconvene on Monday and see what's going on. Joe, any final thoughts here for this matchup here on Thursday Night Football?
I'm actually really excited to see if Belichick can keep Kyle Pitts out of this game. I do think it's going to be ugly. I think like this could be like 20-10, 20-13 kind of deal. Whoever's going to end up on top.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Patriots all day in this one. I like it 24-10. I think Kyle Pitts, if anything happens, I think if he gets into the red zone, I think he'll be the target. I think he can do something down there. So I'll give it 24-10 Pats. I think they control the clock. They control the game. And here's a fun one for you, Mr. Fantasy Points Guru. Hunter Henry, more or less than 10.5 fantasy points before we get out of here.
So Hunter Henry has scored 7 touchdowns in his last 7 games. He's gone under 40 yards receiving, I think, in 6 of those 7. let's just keep it rolling. Let's say he's going to stay hot. Hunter Henry, who has fewer yards. Okay, so here's the deal. Kyle Pitts has more yards now than Hunter Henry is on pace for. Kyle Pitts, I think, is 605 receiving yards. Hunter Henry is on pace for 600 over the full season. Hunter Henry has more fantasy points. There is the magic of touchdowns.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I said off the top, right? Mac Jones loves Hunter Henry. 7 of Mac Jones' you said it. He's got 7 touchdowns. 7 of Mac Jones' 13 touchdown passes have gone to Hunter Henry this season. I'll take the more. I'm joining Joe. We both got the Pats. We got a fun game coming. Look out for the Patriots, man. They are making it the Patriot way, and they're really coming back. Joe, final thoughts.
Enjoy the game, folks. I will be watching this one. I think I'm expecting a defensive struggle.
Yeah, me too. Remember, folks, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. today, you can hit Matty Ice at 1.5 yards. We both like the more on that because, well, yeah, the guy plays quarterback. Like, come on, 1.5 yards. It's a gift. It's a gift from MKF, from us to you. Folks, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Thursday Night Football here on Monkey Night Fight. That's Joe Dolan. I'm Connor Rowntree. And remember to hit it hard.